To change the pairs of glasses, one so I can see the screen and one for here.
I gotta get new glasses.
We are not having public participation in today, so I am not reading the public participation guidelines.
There it is.
Huh? Oh, health imperatives, yes, we are, I'm sorry. Take it back. We are using Zoom in this meeting, which allows the public to participate in the meeting as an attendee. The chair can request the member of the public provide their name for purpose of keeping accurate minutes of the meeting. Attendees must register to participate. The registration link is unique to the meeting. The registration link can be found in the description of the Nantucket Government TV, YouTube live feed for the meeting. Attendees will join in listening mode. They can click the raise hand button. If they wish to speak, the chair will call on those who have raised their hands. The anticipated speakers for today are health imperatives, who are the only people we're taking public comment from today. As a preliminary matter, this is Dorothy Hertz, Chair of the Contract Review Committee, permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Veronica? Here. Sue?
Sue Mitten here.
John?
John Balash is here.
Bert?
Bert Johnson here.
Okay, staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Heather?
Heather Nardoni is here.
Tamika? Tamika, are you here? Jericho?
Jericho Mealy, present.
And anticipated speakers on the agenda, they are not here yet, so we will not do it. We'll call them in when they come. Good afternoon. This is an open meeting of the CRC. Is being conducted remotely pursuant to Chapter 2 of Acts of 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature limited public comment. For this meeting of the CRC is being conveyed by video conference in a hybrid, as posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating in by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to share screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We are now turning the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called further. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that generates accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until I yield to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair and take care to identify yourself. For public comment, after members have spoken, the chair will forward, and we will do this backwards. We will do it the other way. We will have the public speak, and then we will ask questions of its health imperatives. Members of the public will join the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their name and be acknowledged. Finally, each vote will be taken on this meeting will be conducted by a roll call. So I know Veronica. Can I make a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second,
Yeah, we got it. Okay, Veronica?
Aye.
Bert?
Aye.
John?
aye.
Sue?
Aye.
And I'm gonna say aye. It was approval of minutes. And we don't have a full quorum, but I think that we could go, and I should note, are you doing it? Are you recording the minutes with your phone?
No, I'm not doing it.
Okay. Heather, are you?
She shouldn't be.
She shouldn't be. But you know what? Tell them I'm gonna start. Yeah.
Wait, I didn't hear, I only heard are you? What did it say?
Okay, forget, I was asking whether you were recording the minutes with your phone or recording with your phone, but you are not, but Tamika has just decided she will be doing it. I just
Okay.
wanted to make it clear as we went on forward.
Okay.
Sorry there, Heather. We're going to the minutes.
And I believe we're one meeting, you went up till last week's meetings were sent out already, right?
No, it's all of December meetings and, yeah, all of December, November meetings need to be approved. Those are the ones that have, everything has been going so far, I can't get them together.
So in front of me right now, did we approve the Thursday, October 26th minutes? I
No.
don't believe so. Okay, in front of me, I have the Thursday, October 26th minutes. I have Monday, November 6th minutes. And I have in front of me, Monday, December 18th. I don't know if there's any discussion on the minutes, and if not, if somebody wants to make a motion. Is there any discussion? You do that first. Looks like there's no discussion. Okay,
All right. I see the dates.
yes, yeah.
Can I make a motion to approve October 26th, November 6th, and December 18th of 2023 minutes?
I second the motion.
Okay, Veronica,
Veronica, I.
Bert,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
thank you. We're gonna move on to quarterly reports. I was hoping that everybody would be here for these, but they are not. For this.
Who are we dragging now?
Okay, so.
Well, can I go from these? Okay, go on.
Yeah, the only quarterly reports we are missing Dreamland. I do have Alliance for Substance Abuse, but that's where they're not asking for any money. They just sent in today their reporting, but they're not asking for any money. I didn't, for that. But they did send in their report.
Okay,
this
if you can
morning.
get us, everybody, the report, that would be great, even though they're not asking for money.
Okay, and then also we are missing, Small Friends, but Small Friends is asked for all their money before. They got all theirs in the lump sum in the first quarter, so I just don't have their reports.
Okay, they have to still file the reports each quarter, yeah.
Yep,
And I think that's for the summer program, which is why they've traditionally got it in lump sums, I believe.
I think they get it in after the first, but they have to still send us a
Yeah.
quarterly report for each. Okay, so boys and girls. Hold on. I would like to make a comment first on some of these reports that we got. The Boys and Girls Club, what a phenomenal quarterly report. It tells us everything that's going on, present and with our money and without. Same with Martha's Vineyard Community Services. And there was one other one that was South Coast is always,
Star was
the other one. Just very, very, right on point on letting us know where their funds are going, how the funds are being used. And you can read them and see what's there. So I just wanted to sort of say that they really, I would like to let them know, and I think it might be a way of showing other people how to do these, because they are readable, they're understandable. And they give us a very good idea on what they're up to. So I'm gonna do the youth behavioral grants first. And, we'll go one by one on the grants. They're right here.
Oh, you
I
got
haven't
them?
made you a copy.
Oh, good, thank you.
You're welcome. So Boys and Girls Club.
the state one is the youth behavior.
Thank you.
Somebody has to make a motion. I can't make a motion.
To approve the,
I just have a question, if I
On
may.
this one?
In general,
Uh-huh. Okay,
so I'm coming at this from being a previous reporter and grant recipient, and I used to submit like actual receipts for things, and I know that not every program is purchasing items or whatever, some of it's kind of overhead, but is that something we require people to do, or was I just very diligent?
it's a mixture of both. if it's, depending on what you're actually spending funds on, it's good for us to have a copy of what you've done. But you were very diligent.
I
And
tried to be, and that's why, so going
Was it-
back to the Boys and Girls Club, I was like, there are no receipts for anything. And that was confusing to me.
Yeah, there are no receipts, but we can always ask for them. You tended to do that with ASAP, correct? And that's been the way ASAP has always presented their
Yeah.
funding to us. Or their quarterly reports. Do we have a motion on this one?
So this is a motion to accept the Boys and Girls Club, the first quarter, which that's a question that I have actually. What is the first quarter for
Youth grants.
youth grants
Well,
time period?
but the youth grant will end in June as along with the other.
We, so the way it was left with Brian is that you could start during what was the normal, because we didn't deliver the awards until what was Q2. The choice was given that they could follow the same fiscal year cycle, or they could apply and it would be, I checked with Brian, it will carry over the end of the fiscal year if necessary. So that they were given a choice to start Q1 in what would now be Q2, or they could start with a normal cycle. So some of these programs are going to be getting money over the end of the fiscal year.
So on this one,
So for Boys and Girls, it was the Boys and Girls Club?
Well, for all the youth behavior, we have to then assume if they've checked first quarter, it would be from the start through what day?
It would be it's what's laid out
The
in the
regular
packet for Q2, right? So if this box is
So-
checked,
Right,
that means that they took their first of 4 quarter payouts in this period.
okay, so what he's saying is that we didn't know this, been given an extended date on their grants. So that the first quarter will line up with the second quarter. If people are not thinking that they're gonna carry that grant through to the next year, it'll end in June and they've started in the second quarter.
okay, so we're assuming then that this ended December 31st.
Yes,
Okay. All right, I'm just gonna make note of that.
and that their final quarter will be ending in September, yeah, that's that September, end of September with the reporting date by, I think, the first week of October.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I wish we had known it.
Okay, so I'm making a motion to approve the Boys and Girls Club first quarter, which for this purpose ended on December 31st, 2023.
I'll second.
Getting a call in from health imperatives.
Okay, we've got, Veronica,
I,
Sue,
Aye.
John,
aye,
Bert.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to the second invoice, which is for a total of $329.44. Looks like they've applied it to the second quarter, so I'm hoping that they understand what we were just told, because, so. So do we have a
Okay.
motion on that one?
can I just have some clarification on this
Yeah.
before we make
Yeah.
discussion? So the way that I read this, during their first quarter, well, here it's second quarter, actually, which ended December 31st. They did not have any program, but there were expenses that they had to apply, but there were no program because of weather situations. All right. Do we know if they've had any program in January?
To my knowledge, no. One thing that Michelle has done has been very communicative about each and every step along the way and checking in as she goes along. So I don't believe that they have had a class as of yet, but basically each step along the way, whenever there is like change in plan or something, she's updating us as things go along. So she
Can I
hasn't,
make a suggestion here? Since she's only used the 394 or 329.44, that it be brought in discussion with her again as to extending, as the other ones will be going into the further quarter.
Right,
You
right,
know what I mean?
right, because if she's thinking it's ending in July, because of delays, et cetera, that if everyone's gonna use it through September, so should she. So,
Maybe it can run
yes.
in the first month of September.
yes,
So
or
I think that
during
we should-
summer.
Right, I think
Yeah.
we should make that discussion with her. So,
Okay, alrighty. I'll make a motion to approve horses for mental health. The period ending December 31st, 2024, 23,
with a question to them.
with a question to them of, or actually with a statement being made to them that their monies will be extended, can be extended through September 30th, 2024.
Do we have a second on that?
A second.
Okay, thank you. Veronica,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Dorothy, aye. We have the STAR program. They are looking for
3210.
$3,210.
Any discussion on this?
Yeah, is there a discussion? I don't think so.
Okay, we'll make a motion to approve Nantucket Star for period ending December 31st, 2024, or 23.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Veronica,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Bert.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
oh, they got in here.
Huh?
Julia Kehoe.
As you everybody heard, we have not gotten the one from the Dreamland, and we will have the one, ASAP has not used the funding, but has sent in a report. Which Tamika will get the report to everybody.
And then
Thanks, Tamika.
for the record, we have Julia Kehoe from Health Imperatives
Okay,
up in the top, right?
shall we?
We are gonna, I'm gonna move the quarterly reports to other business, as Julia is here to make the presentation. Okay, Julia, hi.
And admitting Linda as well.
And
Hi.
Linda,
I have
Julia.
Elizabeth Torrent here with me. She was unable to come last time and she was jealous, so she wanted to come today.
Okay, hi Elizabeth, and welcome Linda. It's 4:22. Is there anybody else in that blue arrow that I'm missing?
Oh, no, that's them.
Okay, thanks, yeah. Okay. So, as you know, the scope, if you could please give us your presentation on your substance misuse grant, please.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you for the,
Oh, sorry, and when you speak, either one of you, just you have to say your name when you speak, okay?
okay.
Fabulous,
Hi.
thank you.
Okay, I'm Julia Kehoe, and it's very concerning to see how big my face is on that screen over there. But other than that, I'm gonna not look at it.
They're all looking now.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to apply for this really important funding for the substance misuse grant. As you all know better than we do, even better than we do, substance use disorder is enormous and growing problem on the island, as well as in every area that we serve. And that we found, as I mentioned on the last meeting, that we are doing all that we can to provide strength-based trauma-informed services to people with multiple barriers to good health, including substance use disorder. And in recent years, we've added services, including overdose education, naloxone distribution, and the medication for addiction treatment. And we've worked in partnership with Farron's and Dr. Lepery, and we've always been kind of looking at how we can improve services and prevent substance use disorders, and also intervene when possible. The challenge in doing that is without a dedicated staff person or anyone to do outreach, it is more difficult to reach people who otherwise may not voluntarily come to us. So one of the things that we've found that has been particularly helpful is having a part-time harm reduction specialist who can go out in communities where people living with addiction are and work with them individually. But equally important is to really work with our partner agencies. And we have so many of them in Nantucket that really represent a wide range of different populations. So whether it's the school department or LGBTQIA plus, or any number of mental health organizations, or the substance use, the Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention, the Family Resource Center. We're trying to work in partnership so that not only do all of those providers know how to distribute naloxone and to family members and individuals who may need it, but also how to identify people in need and increase referrals to us for any of those services. I think for so long we've been known as sexual reproductive health, family planning. That's why it was so important for us to change the name from family planning to sexual and reproductive health care, so that it encompasses all genders, but also people have a sense of what other services that we offer. And since for many years now, we have been offering HIV prevention, hepatitis C treatment. I think this is an additional add-on that people may not normally think that we would do, but because addiction is related to healthcare, it really makes sense. And we saw that as a major gap in the services we're providing. So we don't want to recreate the wheel or do things that other providers are doing. And that's also why we are asking for these funds to be able to hire part-time individual who can do educational groups for youth 4 to 6 times a year, and engage other staff to plan and work together to have these additional outreach initiatives throughout the island. And in the first year of fiscal year 25, which starts in July, we'll also be able to identify from the groups that we're working with what appropriate interventions there are, or what types of groups work. I think in the past, when we've worked with youth in particular, we've learned so much from the youth themselves about what works and what doesn't work. And that's the type of thing we want to do again. We start with an idea, but we get the real ideas from the people who are in that position, or who have been in that position. And it's very consistent with our overall approach, which is to utilize or tap into all of the amazing talent that's out there in the places we're serving, of people who have either experienced what we're trying to address, which in this case is substance misuse, or who know people who've been in that situation. And so I think having the ability to really connect with other youth and other individuals in the groups that we're serving will make a huge difference. Did I leave anything out?
No, I think that was a good overview. Yeah. Really about getting out there, connecting with people, and making sure people know what resources are out there and how to access them. So it's the outreach, education, internally in our own clinics, working with people and making sure they have the resources, and keeping our Narcans where they need to keep them. for themselves or others. And it's just, I think it's slow inroads. We've been working in New Bedford with like the fishing partnership, and it's not a, well, you guys know this because you put the grants out, and you're working towards it to improve the health on the island, but it's getting people to understand, not feel shame if they take out an Narcan. I think there's been a barrier that people don't want to, accepting it means something that it doesn't, or it does, but it doesn't matter. Like making sure there's no stigma. I think a lot of it, it's about stigma, and also, making people feel safe and comfortable sharing with us, which I think is one of the strengths of all of our services, that people come in and not feel judged.
Yeah, and I think it's important, we talk about Narcan a lot and the opioid use disorder, and that's certainly, one of the major activities, in addition to doing 1 to 2 weekly outreach and education activities with 30 organizations, is to distribute 300 units of Narcan. But we're also offering medication for alcohol and opioid use disorder to 5 patients, linking 10 to substance use disorder treatment, and hosting 4 to 6 education groups for about 5 to 8 youth a group. So I think what's important is, while the emphasis is on opioids a lot, that we do see alcohol use disorder as a major issue as well. And to the extent that we can, talk about that and do that with the youth and other outreach, that's also a major goal. And I think that will help us in the first year to maybe get a sense too of what the extent is of the issues and what other kinds of interventions we can offer in the following year.
Okay, is there anything else, Julia?
No, I'm all set, Elizabeth.
I'm gonna turn questions over to the people that are actually in the Zoom right now. So Linda, I'm gonna start with you.
Oh my God, you're good.
Linda? And do you have any questions for Health Imperatives? Okay, I'm gonna move on to the.
No, I don't have any questions. I'm having trouble getting into the meeting. It wasn't a live link, and I have trouble getting out of mute now. So there you go. I have no questions.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Sorry that you had trouble getting in. Bert?
Yeah, I've spoken to several first responders that have mentioned that they end up giving the Narcan to the same people over and over again, and the people almost get to this point where they're not careful about what they're taking, because they feel that Narcan's going to bring them back again. And sometimes they've had to administer several doses just to get the people to get a regular heartbeat back again. How do you deal with that? The fact that people think that they're always going to be saved.
Well, I think that, the sort of the nature of addiction, in that a lot of times people will not necessarily be ready for treatment, and Narcan is something that we can help while they are really struggling. And what we found is that, it isn't the magic bullet, but it does really help people in that extreme situation. And hopefully over time, individuals like that will either eventually enter treatment when they're ready. And we found that by having connections to them, to having engagement, that makes it more likely that they will come and get this non-judgmental help. Because I think a lot of times people with serious addiction are afraid that they are going to be judged for how many times they've overdosed or how many times they've relapsed. And we understand, that our approach is harm reduction, which means that to the extent that we can prevent something from happening again, but we know that recovery is a process, and not everyone has the same path. And just like with any disease, there are people who are sicker than others. And I think that when it comes to law enforcement, and, you know, they see people at the extremes. But there are plenty of people who also, you know, get help sooner or only using it once. And so I think that we hope also to work with law enforcement to sort of understand more why this happens and how to address it. But it is challenging and frustrating, I can understand, for first responders.
Do you have a program for first responders where maybe they have like a business card or something they can stick in these people's pocket? So after they're out of the hospital, they come across it and maybe at that point they want to come and see you folks?
That's a great idea, absolutely, yes. Yep.
That's a good idea.
Yep.
Good idea. Yeah. Bert, it's amazing sometimes.
All the time, Dorothy. What the hell are you talking about?
That was great. John, any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, Veronica?
Julie, in your words, can you describe, what health imperatives, what part of the big picture? Because you mentioned we have Fairwinds and we also have Addiction Solutions who are playing a role in substance misuse. So can you
And
explain, pardon me?
And
NAMI. So how do you carve out, or what is your specific?
Right, that's a great question. And I think given the extent of the whole problem, that the more people that are working together to be sort of an entry point for whether prevention or intervention is really critical, because it may be different people coming. For example, we see 60% of the people we see are people from other countries who don't have health insurance, who may not go to anyone but us. So we could be their point of entry. We also do a lot of prevention work, whether we're working with our WIC program, or again, there may be young families who aren't going to go and identify to Fairwinds or NAMI or someone else that they have an issue. And they might be engaging with us already around their nutrition or their health care. And so again, it's an opportunity to reach people who otherwise might fall through the cracks of the system, because all of those other organizations are great and are doing preventive work as well, but they're seen as organizations that address mental health and all of that. And so I think having a real range of different kinds of healthcare providers to do the work is the way to make sure that people aren't falling through the cracks. And we have a network that really spans, given our language capacity and all of that, our work with LGBTQIA plus individuals, groups that, again, I'm not saying they wouldn't go to another organization, but we may just be comfortable for them, whereas another person or group may be more comfortable going to Fairwinds. So
Yeah, and I think also it's an advantage to have multiple groups so we can work together in the community, say, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? What are the problems? Where are the gaps? Because we can't do it all by ourselves. No one can do it. I mean, I think that's the nature of partnerships, is to get a really a better picture so that you can address issues that are coming up.
And another really key thing, I think, in terms of sexual and reproductive health care and, you know, HIV, other, you know, all sorts of poor health outcomes, including unintended pregnancy or anything like that, is that often there is a connection with substance use, right? So people are more likely to make poor decisions if they're misusing substances. So that connection is really important. And so we have people who come to us and may tell us things that they would never tell anybody else, or maybe it isn't like the extent of they need Narcan, but maybe they're drinking too much or experimenting as a youth. And so we'll have these opportunities to, you know, connect with people who might not be ready to go into treatment or go to a drop-in group or whatever, but might go to a nurse practitioner to talk about, you know, their sexual health and how it relates to that.
Okay. Do you have any regular, whether it's formal or informal, communication with all of the organizations that are dealing with the same problem, or the same situation, but from different
Yes.
angles.
Yeah, I think, one of the groups that we talked about was the ASAP and their meetings, so we've been part of that. The Community Foundation, the collaborative meetings, so we go to a lot of network meetings where people get a chance to meet and talk, and I know there's different topics, obviously. But I think that's gonna be a really important thing to do is when this comes through, whoever gets it is, I would love to see the awardees be together and come together and do something like that, because right now, I don't think there's one just focused on substance use disorders. But a lot of
Thank
community collaboration, but around a lot of topics.
Right. Like food security, and they could be effective at, but you're focusing on one particular thing.
Yeah.
So this is a good
Thank you.
opportunity. Thank you.
I have a bunch of questions. Sue has her hand up. Sue?
I
Did-
didn't get my chance in the
Okay.
go round.
Right, yeah, no, I saw that. I was just doing. So you can go now.
Oh, I can go now. Okay, I just had one quick question. So there's a lot of talk about Narcan as harm reduction. And I'm wondering if you were thinking of implementing like a, clean needle exchange or anything of that level as part of this program.
Yeah, it's a good question, and we're actually implementing it in 3 or 4 of our communities, Brockton, Plymouth, New Bedford. It is based on the town's laws, and the town has to approve it, so we aren't able to do it in every community. So I think it would be great to do it in Nantucket
Yeah.
if it's allowed.
I think it
Didn't
was,
you used to do it here? You used to do it here.
I think, oh God, what
I
was that?
did.
Somebody
Health
somebody
Imperative.
did. I don't know that it was them.
AIDS support group.
Yeah.
They had
Yes.
a thing in their bathroom.
Yeah.
Where you could dispose of it in
The
the,
kiosk, yeah, the kiosk. Yep, we're doing it, so if we can do it, that would amazing. We have to get more space again.
We might need a new clinic.
I think that's something that you would have to talk with, the, health inspector maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Town.
That's who I think you would go to first to find
There's-
that out. That Jericho's gonna answer that in 1 second, but I think that's who you would go to, Jericho.
Yeah, there's a needle drop off at the fire department. Then there's also, I think there's 2 other sharps retrieval area. And then I was meaning to talk to you about this and I'll follow up outside the meeting, but we are also running a needle disposal program in-house where we will take sharps from qualified vendors and then dispose of them at no cost. So if that is something that might be helpful for you guys, just send me an email or something.
So we do the sharps disposal. It's the needle exchange being like giving the
Yeah.
clean needles, which
Okay.
is what we need the town's approval for. What's been, something we'd be happy to talk to the right
That
people
would be,
about.
if you guys want to send an email into me and I can connect you with Roberto, and I think there may be some, I think there were some issues around, as always, liability, but that's something I
Right.
can help us hash out.
Okay, Elizabeth,
Yeah.
will
Yeah, because we're doing it now, so
Yeah.
in other communities that,
that want
allow
it. Yeah, and the state wants us to do as much as we can.
Okay, I have a few questions, as always.
Yay.
Yeah, you said you have 5 patients doing the alcohol, program. How many, do you have any in the naloxone or?
Oh, no,
Working
that
with,
was our goal for
our goal
both.
is to,
Yeah, either
connect-
one.
Connect 5 people through this outreach and the work that we're doing to the medication assisted treatment or medication for opioid use disorders. We've had only 1 so far on Nantucket, so again, it's been
Getting to the right
it's
people.
slow, so that's part of this whole picture is prevention and then treatment, for certain things that we can do. I mean, we're never gonna be a substance use treatment center, but to work with our clients who can come in, the whole idea is we started doing this when there was such a long waiting time to get into substance use treatment centers, and people were, rightly so. Here they are ready to go, and months waits to get in. So that's when we started saying, well, let's do it at least for our clients and bridge them to a treatment center if they need one later, but, or if people are already on the medication, to bridge and continue the medication for them. So, and we know
Okay.
people are already offering it out there, but again, if the more people that do it and see different clients, I think the better access will be.
Okay, so I know that we gave you funding last year for outreach and education in this. Can you tell me what outreach and education you've actually provided in the last year? Like, have you had the groups? Where have you
Yeah.
felt that
The
that money
first-
already?
Yeah, the first, it's not quite been a year, but it was getting someone hired. It took a little bit of time. It was a little bit slower than we wanted. She's been up and training, working a lot of inReach and working with the clients in the sites, but also worked in, did some events where she distributed the Narcan out in the community. And I'm gonna have to rack my brain to think of, the event that it was, but quite a successful event, and I think that's the idea, is to do more of that. But it was a bit of a time, a delay just getting someone in and trained. So we want to continue a little bit of that momentum, but it was slower than we wanted it to be, slower than implementation.
So was this at the hospital health fair? Is that where you?
Yes, I think it was the hospital, yeah,
Okay.
this summer.
And so,
And actually, I think it was September.
correct, that's when it was.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
that was the one.
September
Yeah.
or October was the health fair.
Yeah.
And then have there been any outreach that you've been able to do within the school, like to the school, to?
No, but they've been asking, we submitted the grant that you know about with Fairwinds and our house to reach youth. And I think one of the issues was the school, like there was concerns about, like, are you able to get in school? But we do have connections to the school, so we don't feel like that will be a problem. We think we can do that, so.
So do you see that happening this year with the grant money that you have, being able to get into the school now?
Yeah, we're working right now with the person and her supervisor who's off island to start up and reach the schools and other providers on the island to do the education.
Can you tell me who it is actually that you hired to do this program?
Yes, I was just thinking, what the heck is her name? You're gonna on Nantucket. It's not Lucia. I'm getting my islands mixed up. She works with Lucia. I want to say Celeste. I'm trying to remember. I'm like having a brain melt here.
Celeste?
I don't have my phone with me because I could look it up. She works with Maria Lucia. And she does part-time WIC there as well. She's our WIC program assistant, and I believe it's Celeste. Does that make sense? I'm just having a
Okay, in your partner agencies, just out of curiosity, do you have connections with off-island agent, like, let's say somebody in the Spanish community comes to you, because that's clearly where a big portion of your demographic is. Do you have access to off-island treatment facilities to let them know about them? Within your?
yes, we work closely with Gosnold and Emerson House on the Cape Cod specifically, and then multiple because we have sites all around southeastern Mass, so New Bedford, Plymouth, High Point. We work closely with the Women's Addiction Treatment Center in New Bedford, where we actually go in and provide services weekly to between 16 and 30 women. So yeah, we have a lot of connections.
Bright View and others.
So I know
Squares.
that, I know that we have a large Spanish community within our Catholic Church on the island. And I know that that's due to some of the, the beliefs within the Catholic Church, but have you reached out to Father John? Is pretty amazing, just to let him know that you're around?
I don't know if I'm not as familiar with obviously Nantucket as the staff are. but I'm gonna write that down, Father John.
Yeah. I
Will
think
people
we
just
have-
know who he is? With-
Yeah, from the
Found
church,
the link.
because they do outreach in the church.
He's in charge of St. Mary's Church. He's the pastor
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's very community minded and has a large Spanish following at the church. And a lot of they respect him a great deal. So just to put it out
that is
there.
one
as-
of the community partners we've worked with, so I bet you he is the contact then.
Yeah, so you just might wanna, just to
Okay.
double check. on that. I don't have any other questions. Does anybody else? Okay, thank you guys very much. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
coming.
Sorry we had to come back. I appreciate
No,
the
that's okay.
opportunity.
No, we appreciate you coming back. Thank you for your time.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay. So this will be the only one that we didn't do a rubric on. And
Yep.
now if everybody could, look at doing the rubric on health imperatives, recovery, because we should not have had a rubric in on this one. And I will just put it out there right now, in looking at the rubric, there are some things that I think we need to change to better evaluate stuff and to look at, like, especially in criteria number 2, to sort of maybe go to pinpoint services rendered to specific demographics, like is your programs, like, because this is very broad, but to say like, do you have a specific group with a specific program? Do you know what I mean? Because and does your program, what was the
I
other
think
one?
that's for that's covered under the demonstrated need, but there is absolutely some ambiguity and subjectivity in all of these.
Yeah, but I'm just
I
saying,
would like-
number 2 is very, very hard to position out things.
And I would like to have a meeting dedicated to evaluating rubrics and processes before we start the next cycle, but that's something we can talk about later. But I think,
I'd like to do it at the end of this, because I think that this
It'll
really,
be
if we
fresh.
have some good, well, it's
I
fresh
think
in our heads. some good-
either way is
thoughts.
fine, but we also need to set up timelines and policies for the next year. And we're going to do that alongside the consultants, which we're
We
securing.
understand that, but I'm just saying that I think like this is
And-
something that, while it's fresh in our minds and what we're seeing that like doesn't fit in, would be a good time for us to.
Absolutely. And I think
So if
that's to
everybody-
be ongoing as well.
Yeah, if everybody could get the health imperatives one and just get that rubrics into Tamika, I think it would just take.
To be honest with you, there are a lot. We only got 3 from 3 people. I didn't get all the rubrics from everyone, only got from 3 and 3 members.
One of
Okay,
the,
so if we can go, if everybody could please do this, and it's really would be great if Tamika could get the full-fledged rubrics, which was the graph, which looks like this. Mine is filled out, so I'm just gonna, sorry,
no, that's fine.
but it's a full-fledged rubrics. It has all the organizations and then how you scored them. But if we could just do that, and then we're gonna open our discussion. So I'm gonna give everybody a couple minutes to do that one for the health imperatives. So literally, I'm giving you 2 minutes, guys.
I don't know how to do it on the computer. At all.
It's pretty hard. Can you,
You can just,
if you can see the form, Linda, just the one that says rubric,
What?
Never mind, don't worry about it.
and if you just look at the first one that gives it to you, which goes through 1, 2, 3, gives us the 5 criteria. And then there was a blank sheet that had all of the organizations on it.
Is this something you fill out on the computer or?
No, you
it's an
can
Excel
actually print it-
spreadsheet, Linda.
You can print it out, Linda, if you
Well, I
go
couldn't
to,
print out the Excel spreadsheet. It came out in
Yeah.
like 10 different pages. I'm not doing that.
okay, but there is a way to do it if you go to the Excel spreadsheet and do it on the web. Because for some of us,
No.
it has to go on the web. And I think if you go onto the web,
I do have the telephone.
Don't ask me how to do that.
well, right up in the top, it said, there's a blue thing on it that says edit or something, and you hit the arrow. And
So all
and
you
you
have
go
to
down.
do is open up that spreadsheet.
It doesn't open for some of us. on
Oh,
the-
It opens in 10 different pages. I'm not printing that. I tried
Yeah.
already.
No,
No,
I
no,
wasn't
no.
asking you to print it. You can put the information in and then save it and email it back to me. Just click on she said it's opening up on her computer, so it's
It's
allowing
opening
her.
up in 10 different things. I couldn't open mine. On mine, I have to go into go on to into the web to
I
open
can't
it up.
stand this type of email. I can't stand it. I can't stand getting this type of thing because I tried printing it so I could sort of put all the pages together. I'm not doing that again.
And for once, probably the only time in my life I will agree with Linda, I will not be doing it either.
Okay,
I'm not
so
doing that.
I also made the statement that if you all had called me, because John did it, he called me and gave me his numbers. I also said if y'all had any problem, I wouldn't have mind being called. And I could have just wrote you, once you all told me what you were scoring, I could have just put them on my Excel worksheet. I do give the option of calling me anytime since I'm the one creating these and you may not get it.
I think considering that there's like probably 40 numbers to enter in that aren't in there, that we can probably skip the rubric and have it not be implemented for another
Well, I
grant
think,
cycle.
I think
Because
that
the,
these
because,
guys, I think
because-
people did it. Bert, did you do yours?
No, I started, it's so much goddamn busy work that.
Yeah, not
you know,
doing it.
If the town doesn't like us not doing that, or me not doing it, let them go and do it themselves. Let them sit through the day after day and week after week, month after month sessions we've been going through. I like the old system. It's not broken. This is no less subjective on each one of these people than our old system.
this
No, I don't
is
mind doing it, guys. I just do it in that format. I'm not doing it on
Guys, I
Excel.
I think what's important, and I'm just gonna make the statement is that, we discussed this over a year ago, November, no, year ago, November. It was November of a year ago that we had this discussion, and we voted on putting this rubrics into play. Okay, we did
voted
not
to
do
use
it.
for that
Wait,
cycle.
we did not, can I finish, please, Jericho? Thank you. We did not use it in the last cycle because everybody felt that they hadn't had time with it. This has been in the play and it went out into it went out to everybody that received a grant from the town of Nantucket in the packet, showing them how we would be evaluating it. It is here. It actually does not take that much time to look over. It is actually what you're doing is you're answering whether or not under each criteria you felt they reached those criterias. And if so, where did they reach it? Did it show you that they were gonna provide, the first one is, description is complete. Was it complete? Or did you have a lot of questions that weren't answered? Then you go on to each one of them. It actually does not take a lot of time. And I will state that even though you don't want to do it, we agreed and voted upon doing it. So you are required to do it at this point. Okay?
Fire
I
me.
don't, huh? Bert, I
Fire
don't
me
like.
again.
to
I'm
go
not
on,
doing
but
it.
it's really not hard. It's really, really not hard. So.
All
with
right,
that
let me
being
be
said-
clear, Dorothy. I don't mind doing it. I don't like this format. I don't like the way it came to me and how to figure it out and all this other crap. I don't like Excel sheets and it's very difficult for me to deal with this. So I don't really know how to save it. I don't know how to email it. If it was hard copied, I could do it. I can't do it on this. I don't get it on the computer. I just don't. I don't work a lot with Excel.
I think you should, I think that, Linda, I appreciate that. I think that I know that it's, difficult. They have been here, and I believe that you could probably show up at the office to get a little help on how to do this. If you had any concerns or questions, what I would say is that everybody's more than willing to show you how to do it and to walk everybody through the process of doing this. And we're trying to find a way to actually find the criteria. Most grants are done this way, guys, with the rubric. And so we're trying to find a way we're always questioning whether or not we're giving money to the right organizations and how we're giving that money. And do they fit into the criteria? This was a way to try to help us all come to a common question for every organization. And Sue, I'll get you in 1 second, okay? I am acknowledging that I see your hand up. So, I think that we voted upon this, whether we like it or not. It went out in this year's grant. It is something we voted upon. It is here for us to do it. The grantees or grantees, is that what they'd be called?
Grantees.
Are under the idea that we would be doing this. So, whether we like it or not, we really have to do it. And Sue?
Yeah, I just had maybe a suggestion to make it slightly easier for folks. I
Sure.
printed mine out and I understand that that was complicated for Linda, but if it was sent out as a PDF in the right format,
PDF. It was.
Didn't come
Sue.
to me in a PDF,
No,
came as
no,
an
it
Excel.
it came as a, yeah.
You asked.
That one from the town came, if you clicked on it, it became a PDF.
Yeah, printed.
And then you
PDF.
can
Right,
print,
and
yes,
that's how I did it.
that's how I did it.
Then just for the record, we sent an email, you could call and tell us it. You could tend it, and like, we were gonna make it work regardless of everyone's technology thing. We sent it out a week ago. If people were having trouble, it's much easier for me to hear the problems when I have time to do something about them.
Well, I would rather have numbers. I mean, I take it that I'm looking at the sheet. It should put down HAANA or U. Is that all I
No, the
have?
numbers on the bottom, Linda, if you look at the bottom, they're all ranked by numbers on the bottom.
And due to procurement
That did not print. I got one page with the
Okay, so
criteria
on the
1,
bo-
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
On the bottom, it is printed, HA equals 4, A equals 3, NA equals 2, and U equals 1.
Where is that?
On the very bottom of the one that says Human Service Rubric FY 25, and it looks like this, Linda, I will show you, I have a blank one right here, so I'll put it up. Right here, this is a blank one.
And she
Can you
see
put that in front of there?
Yeah.
Can you see this?
I have that one sheet. There are no numbers on it. It's just all the
On the
letters.
It's on the very bottom. Can you, here? can
When
you-
I
this one-
printed mine, it
Oh,
went to the
okay.
second page.
Mine didn't go to a second page. It just
Oh,
didn't
mine
print.
went to the first.
Okay,
Okay, so that could be a problem if you didn't have that.
you know, with your permission,
Yes,
I'd be willing
Veronica
to,
is gonna talk.
I think Sue, I will do a PDF. I will send it as a.
It does come as a PDF though.
You can
I
say
did
I did not.
Out,
I got no
did
PDF.
out as an Excel. So I can send out, from now on, I can send, hopefully.
In the future, we're just gonna send it as an online survey
Survey.
form, so that you'll just click on it, it'll take you to a web page, you'll put it in, and it'll send it in. That was the standard operating procedure that was given to us by finance to do that this year, using the procurement software that they spent a lot of money to do to streamline all of this. But because of the late date that we started, we were excused from doing that. So this is a request / requirement from finance. This is not like purely my idea here. Additionally, if we are going to be asking for additional funding from the town for human services, we must start doing things like this. We must be more, not necessarily objective, but we must be able to show our work. Because
Make
will
it an
be-
easier format. That's all I'm saying, Jericho. I don't mind doing it, but this is a pain in the ass the way they
We
came to me
had
and trying to
2
do it.
In-person conversations about this over the past week.
Well, that's not gonna happen right now until my uncle's house was sold today. Now I'm done with the house.
Okay, so, Veronica, what do you have to say?
I just wanted to restate what Dorothy said. And with Jericho, this is a standard operating procedure with almost any grant review. And I would be willing to help, whether it's Jericho or Tamika, to make it less technologically challenging, because unfortunately, I don't have Excel and I couldn't convert it. So what I did is I just took the printout, I wrote my numbers and sent it in. So I got it done that way. So, but I think everyone seems to be voicing that they had difficulties. So moving forward, I would be happy to work with you, make it less technologically challenging, because not all of us are that way.
So what it was, that's why I said with the turning in automatically from my standpoint, to send in Excel, a PDF like Sue created, when I do a PDF, you should be able to just open the PDF and print from there.
But here's,
It's a-
should come PDF.
No,
It
but
didn't
when
come
I
to me in
sent it-
PDF.
no,
It
no,
came
no.
in Excel.
It didn't. When I sent it out in Excel. I don't know how your computer
Just
created
you
it.
hit save as PDF.
No, I
Right.
didn't.
Or print
When
it.
I hit it and when I hit it, guys, it said to me, all of it comes in from you guys as, and it always has, that you can save it as a PDF.
Right.
Right,
So
but
anything that comes in comes as saved as
Mhm.
PDF from you guys, the minute you get it.
The original file that left was an Excel
sheet.
spreadsheet, then you
Yeah.
open it up with an Excel, like you could print that as an attachment, which everyone should.
I actually couldn't open it. I had to go to the web to open it, and then it opened up as a PDF.
Yeah,
Right, so the
it's-
web
yeah,
probably
it
helped you
thinks-
do that.
yeah, it-
Yeah,
But
the web
the
helped me get
original
to it.
thing that I sent out was an Excel. That's why I said Sue made a great point of starting it off straight up as a PDF file. That way you all can, even if you print it out, write it, and then email it back to me, we can have it back. So that's why I was saying I could do that, even though I can make it into a PDF file. And that's the easiest way to do for everyone, because no one questions, I have never seen you all say anything about a PDF file. So that's why I said I could change from now on, make sure it comes to you all as a PDF file.
I just want it easy. I just want it easy, and I want it, Survey Monkey's great. I
Okay,
just
okay.
want it, that's what I do all my other stuff, but I just want it easy. I don't want, I have to convert it, I have to do this, I can't print it, I can't fill it out. I don't want that. If I'm gonna do this, and I have no problem doing it, as I said before, but not this format.
Well, okay, but right now we have to do this format because it's in the grant, so everybody has to do, whether we like it or not, it has to get done. Because they went out in the grants to the grantees.
And
So,
is-
and they were told they would be evaluated on it, so it has to be done as our backup. So with that being said, I would like it if everybody worked on that one for health imperatives, and I think it's open for discussion, and then this has to get done. Before we can, I think we can have a little bit of discussion about the people, and maybe if we had questions still about organizations or things we wanted. And then I would like to see this rubrics done by everybody before we go forward, because that is part of the grant process that they were told.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion, just the order of things?
Mhm.
We haven't had any discussion on any of the interviews. If we can do that, if Tamika can just send out this to everybody in a PDF. And just if you could make this statement with the numbers a little bit larger, because
You want both pages.
you want
sent
both
again.
pages,
Okay.
but also just make the number, the conversion of an HA, make that statement a little bit bolder, because I had you have to
Or highlight it.
highlight it so
Okay.
people can see,
The
to
main-
understand.
The main reason why I didn't just put numbers in there in the first place is because according to procurement law, they
It's-
have to be rated as HA.
Right,
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's the only reason they're not in there as a rank 1 through
Right.
4 to begin
Okay.
with.
so, but if we can send that out, and then with a deadline for everyone to do it, to get it back, then we can fold
We
it
can look at
into.
it, we can look
Exactly.
into everything that's there.
Right.
So why don't we have a little bit of discussion? What will happen is that Tamika will get this out to you, tomorrow. Okay, Tamika, we're good. I know, but it'll get out to you, but guaranteed that you can look for it tomorrow morning. It'll definitely be in your emails. And when we set our date, I think we have another date, and I'm sorry, I don't have it. I don't have it written in my book right now. I didn't, oh, yes, I did. Hold on.
I think, did we
I have
had the 12th, I think, lined up? It's confirmed that we have the same one there, and it's not posted yet, so we can shuffle that around.
We have February 12th. I would like to make a change in the date. If I have a doctor's appointment that day, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I have a doctor's appointment this day,
okay,
and then I'm away with my grandkids through some of this.
okay.
So we can, well, And are you booked right there, those three that I see?
No, that's perfectly fine. That's
Okay.
just, I have things to do those days, but not all of it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm away on the fifth for a doctor's appointment, which I've been waiting months for, so. Is anybody available? Can we look at February sixth?
Nope.
John has his hand.
HCC at 4 o'clock.
Have it early.
Are you ready for me or not?
John, yes, do you have something to say and then we'll go to a time?
I'll pull up. a
Well,
calendar.
yes, I just was trying to figure out, having put all my numbers in, what was I supposed to, are we supposed to be doing for health imperatives in addition to what we had before?
You're adding the one for recovery, because they've applied for 2 separate grants.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, all right.
thank you. So we're looking at Tuesday, the 6th. Is anybody available in the morning of Tuesday, the 6th, possibly 10 a.m.?
I'm
I
all right in
don't-
the mornings, but not after 3 o'clock on Tuesdays ever.
Okay, Sue? John?
I don't know, because I'm leaving the island on the 31st, and I should be available, but I'll be in Georgia for the next 2 months.
That's what
Okay,
I figured. You were headed back to Georgia.
Bert?
You're
I
muted,
can't hear
Bert.
you. You're muted.
John, stop down in Florida on your way.
I don't, Bert, I don't care if I ever put foot in Florida again.
Bert, on the 6th,
You can have old Google eyes in his stiletto shoes.
Yeah. His Cuban heels.
Hey, we also have Donald Trump down here.
Well, lucky you.
Okay, I'm gonna assume that
Yay.
Bert is saying yes, February 6th at 10 a.m. So
10
we're
a.m.
requesting
February
February 6th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
So after we.
Can I
finish-
chime in for 1 second? Sorry, guys.
Heather, yes, please.
It's really helpful for staff when they are during work hours. I know it's less important for us to be there. But I just wanted to throw that out there that it's like really helpful when it is in work hours because I can be in person and just like not running around. I just wanted to throw that out there, but I know that it's more about if you guys can meet.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Heather. So we're gonna go for February 6th at 10 a.m.
2 hours.
2 hours,
2
but that
hours.
is gonna be, I mean, like, we don't have much time. So that's it. And then with the follow-up date of February 12th at 4 p.m. Sorry about that, Heather, but
I couldn't do February 12th. It's planning board, but we'll see what happens on the 6th.
We're gonna keep February 12th.
we are
and the
keeping,
6th,
and we're adding the 6th.
And we're gonna add this.
10
10 a.m., please.
for 2.
Thank you. So, what I'd like to do for a little while now is get a little bit of discussion going about the applicants and what we've already seen, and if there are questions. So if everybody's okay with that, I'd like to sort of start with that. We do have the quarterly reports that we have to finish. Do we maybe want to finish the quarterly reports real quick? Is everybody okay if we go back to the quarterly reports?
Just,
Dorothy, do you want to talk about just the misuse or you want to talk about the whole thing, both grants?
Well, what I'd like to do is go back to the quarterly reports first and get that done because they've sort of been waiting and people are waiting. We moved that from other business. We're just going, because we had to take in health imperatives, so we're gonna go back and finish that off. And we've already discussed, you missed, we discussed the youth behavioral grants.
Yeah.
You missed that, so we're gonna move on to the other grants. And we are gonna start with, so. Yeah, Jericho is a point of order.
Yes.
For everybody. I've been told by procurement that we need 2 separate from health imperatives and from fair winds. They cannot put it in under one invoice or bill. It has to be 2 separate bills.
They're the ones who put it together as one bill.
They do, they put it in under one thing. So.
But
Oh,
they
From two
they said-
different funding sources, they put it on one bill?
This is 2 different sources of
Oh,
money.
boy.
I wish they'd done that before they set the grant agreements, but yeah, I'll have them submit
Okay.
two different
They
invoices.
just want two separate invoices?
Because they're both drawing off this, like, we got the contracts and they had combined the cannabis and substance misuse in the same grant agreement,
Well,
which is why.
Cannabis and substance misuse.
Sorry,
is the
substance
same.
misuse and CRC on the same
Right.
grant agreement, and that's what we followed through on. So we can split it up on the invoice, and
Yeah, he
the
wants it in-
invoices are
it's
separate.
Two separate, it's two
Yeah,
separate entities.
yeah, the invoices come in separate, but they're both on the same grant agreement.
The invoices come in writing on the same thing, on the same invoice, so he just wants two separate invoices.
And it's
If we got
very
two
good if
grants.
Brian can communicate that stuff to me directly as well.
Well, I had a question today and talked to him about a question within one of the grants that we didn't understand and henceforth, that's where it came out. So,
Okay.
So I'd like to start with the first one here, addiction solutions. We have both Q1 and Q2 for addiction solutions. I would love to see them in actuality do a little bit better on their, what do you call it? The
Okay.
printout of what they're giving us.
We're
Okay.
gonna be we're gonna be giving people basically a template to fill out from now on, so
But
that.
just that, yeah, because it just doesn't. I mean, we give them what we're asking,
That was
but
the
this sort of
question.
is pretty. I mean, July-15.
Yeah.
A little bit better would be
Yeah.
great on there, so we're looking at addiction solutions, Q1 and Q2. Any questions on it? No? Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the first and second quarter invoices from Addiction Solutions.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Sue,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
John,
I,
Veronica. Aye. Dorothy, aye. Okay, we're gonna go on to the next one, and I'm just going on the list we have in front of us, guys, so. Artists Association. Nantucket. And that is for $9,928.
And it's for the second quarter.
Correct, that's the second quarter Artists Association.
Okay.
I thought it was, I think this is what tripped me up with the like receipts or something, like it just says an average class costs $320 times 31 students. Like that doesn't represent actual cost to me. I thought that was strange.
But I think that that's really how it's the tuition cost. So this is the tuition.
Right,
per-
but they just used an average, not actuals. And I thought that was bizarre.
Because
Oh,
it
that's
probably
about-
fluctuates from class to class.
Exactly.
to
like-
average out.
So they should, if it's $320, you wanna see a 320, if it's 290, you wanna see how many took it at 290. I get it, and I think
Right.
that that's
I
a
can request
very fair request to ask.
Yeah,
Cause I think,
Um,
don't they sometimes like have a scholarship, so it's
Yes.
$100.
Scale, right? So
Some of it is, but I get what she's saying.
Yeah, no, I think, I'm just wanna.
But I'm not quite sure it's 100% sliding scale with their program. But I understand. So we'd like to see an improvement on that to actually tell us how many people are in what class at what cost.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, perfect. So,
Because we
with
do,
that. Sorry, go on.
we do know there's 31 students, but not the actual cost for each of those 31. So now I understand.
Okay.
Yes.
yeah, that's, I mean, I believe they're serving 31 students. It just, you wouldn't get an invoice for an average, like that's just
No,
not
you wouldn't, you're right.
business.
So would like a Excel spreadsheet with X number of students at particular pay rate and then the
Right.
breakdown, okay.
Okay, do we have a motion on that one?
So I'll make a motion to approve Artists Association for where's the number? $9,928 for the second quarter. Um,
Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Second,
Okay, Veronica,
aye.
Sue,
aye.
Bert,
Aye.
John,
aye.
Linda? Linda?
She's muted.
Yeah,
Aye.
thank you. Okay, the next one, I think I'm gonna leave that to end because it's so friggin' confusing.
Which one? The,
Fairwinds.
and I've got,
That's in my packet. What do you have next?
I've got, the.
Oh,
Meals on
Elder
Wheels.
Services.
Yeah,
I already put it here.
okay. All right, I'll make a motion to approve, elder services for, here's the amount. $5,400 for the second quarter billing cycle.
Second,
Thank you. Veronica,
Aye.
Sue,
aye.
Linda,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Dorothy, aye. We're going on to, so on both of these, even though they said it, I would like to know, before I approve health imperatives and fair winds, I'll bring it to the next one. I'd like to know the breakdown better on, because I'm assuming it's the outreach and education that they're asking for the 10,000 out of it, but I don't know that.
Okay.
But it's the cannabis. So I'm taking health imperatives and I'm putting it aside for now.
And you want to circle back to that before the end of today to get specifically what you want to ask out of them?
Well, I want to find out what is we need it broken down.
Like a proper profit.
A
allowance.
proper, no. Because
Accounts
supposedly it's
receivable?
they're two.
She said they're part of the CRC and cannabis. They
Oh,
need
and
two
wait, so,
invoices.
so they sent in a single invoice for both of them?
Right.
Okay,
Correct.
all right,
So
we'll
did
split
Fair
that.
Winds.
We'll split, yeah, so that one,
Fair
no,
Winds
Fair
are
Winds has
taking
two.
Yeah, but they have it all in one, and I'll show you.
Oh,
We'll discuss it in a minute. Okay, we'll get to that at the end because it's gonna be a discussion. So the next one is,
Martha Junior.
Family Support Center Program, yeah. Theirs is great too, by the way, their invoice to us.
I'll make a motion to approve Martha's Vineyard Community Services for the second quarter of the $3,725.
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Okay, Veronica,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Dorothy, I. We have, the Interfaith Council. And theirs is for $18,290.81.
I'll make a motion to approve Interfaith Council for the second quarter for $18,290.81.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, Veronica,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Sue.
Aye.
Great. Next one is the same place. That's a very good report too, by the way.
Just like this. I'll make a motion to approve Safe Place for the second quarter for $16,706.25.
Second that motion, Madam Chair.
Hey, Veronica,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Sue.
Aye.
Okay. Next one is Sherburne Commons. 5,224. That's 16.
I make a motion to approve Sherburne Commons for, well, actually, for the Memory Cafe for second quarter, $5,224.16.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chair.
Veronica, Linda,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Okay, South Coast Legal.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve South Coast Legal for second quarter for $1,150.
Second.
Okay, Veronica,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Linda,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Okay, so health imperatives I put to the side because we need it broken out into two separate, because it's two separate grants.
One other thing, I forgot to tell you all, NAMI did not do their reports.
No, you did tell us that.
No, I did.
Yeah, you did at the beginning, thank
I
you.
just want to make sure.
Well, that's perfect, you did, thank you very much. We're stating that we did not get the quarterly report from NAMI.
Or ASAP.
You
Do we
didn't
have
get it
ASAP? We have, well, we,
ASAP
there's
just
no
gave us-
money, right,
Right.
And that was just for the youth, that was their youth grant, yeah.
right.
So what's confusing, and I'm just gonna talk about the fair means one for a minute, because it's a little confusing. First of all, and I'm gonna be very honest, I had no idea that they had $22,000 they overheld from the year before. I had known about the 4,000, I had no idea about the 22,000 that came from the peer recovery. I think we all should have known that going into this year.
There was some miscommunication in that was an approved usage between Fairwinds and Finance. And I didn't hear about it until after the first quarter. So that's where the,
Don't worry, I told finance what I thought today. about it.
yeah.
Because I think that first and foremost, this is becoming.
Every
With a
time.
lot of their programs, there's money that's coming and going into the next year that could have been used in other programs. I did not know that they had $22,000 sitting in the peer recovery program that they didn't use last year. And they went into the fiscal year of 2024 that we're paying now. I think had we had known that, it would have been a little bit different how we allocated monies to other programs for 2024. That was 2023's money, peer recovery money, that was left over, had we known it. And it's very hard to read this because I went back to the first grant, and it was hard to read that it doesn't state that the money has come from fiscal year 2023's grant that they're asking, but here, if you read it, it just is very complicated everywhere, especially with us not knowing. That it says, invoice, the cannabis is separate from fiscal year 23 remaining cannabis funds now exhausted. And it shows us the cost of services at 17,000. I have to be honest with you, are they asking us for the 17,000 and they use the rest of the money in the first quarter on that one, Jericho? It's a little hard to read, and I thought maybe it was me and I actually.
No, it's not you.
I called and asked, I would like this to be clarified a little bit better and straighter. And in this one, because in this one, the other one that comes for the sliding fees and so forth, they talk about it as well, the peer recovery money, and none of this makes sense.
They're
And,
not separating them apart at all.
Right, and I would like to see them separated and, because here, when they tell us, they go under services peer recovery, they tell us, again, they put it into this. But with the whole group not knowing about this money that was sitting out there,
When
that they pulled over, so they did 4,800 and something from the sliding fee one, and now, or was it 4,000, right?
4,000, they were transferring money inside the grant between approved usages at one point. That was the end of the last fiscal
But
year.
then last
Right.
fiscal year, they
They
had
want
money
to
left
carry
over.
over
They carried over, and then they carried over in the peer recovery program, which we did not know about.
And it was originally unclear whether or not they were asking to, they're calling it flex, but they're asking to roll money from one grant source to another. We clarified that's not the case, and it was from fiscal year over, but I am personally uncomfortable with the lack of clarity on what exactly the thing that they're asking for is in this context. I thought I had it, then I didn't have it, then I thought I had it, and then I at this point, if I get a similar request like this from Fairwinds in the future, I'm going to ask them to table it and I'm going to go with the no shuffling of any monies around, just because it's starting to get a little chaotic, even on my end, and I'm seeing it as they go out. So-
Right, and I think it's also, I will write up, I was a little upset to find out that there was this $23,000 that we knew nothing about, that was carried over. So until these two are clarified and cleaned up, both Fairwinds and health imperatives, I'm gonna say that we are not gonna vote on them tonight, okay?
Okay.
And
A question,
you
basically,
can
just
ask
to
questions on that,
clarify,
please.
whatever. So what I think, and verify this, they're looking to the 22,000 that was left in last year's cannabis money. They want to apply it toward this year, and that's what they've done. Last year, there was also money that they were carrying over, so
both programs
Don't-
have had money.
I would think that at a certain point that has to stop, because
It just keeps.
it's
rolling.
gonna roll and it snowballs, and
Let me just say something. My concern has been, and I brought this up with a little bit of slack back, was that had we known, had they had 23, it's basically almost between two grants, we're almost at $30,000. There's some other programs there that we didn't fund that could have used them and done the funding. So because this is now 2 last year, we only heard about 1 until the question came up about this, and we were like, what money is this? This doesn't make sense because it doesn't match the money from the sliding fee that we knew they had requested. So we didn't know about this 23,000. Are they asking for more than they should actually be getting? Because clearly they're rolling it over, like it's more money than they need in their grant because it's going over. And should there be a process where the due process isn't only to go, because what was said to me is, it's mental health, don't you want help anywhere? And I'm like, but the problem is that it keeps going year by year by year, they're just rolling money from the town, right?
To the closest thing I'm gonna do to a defense of that is that their quarter 4 reporting is exceedingly difficult because they have to deliver it before they're still doing stuff in that last quarter before they send the reports out. So there is I can understand some complexity and confusion around the quarter 4 reimbursements because their invoices are gonna be subject to change over the course of the year. It's the continued rolling from quarter to quarter that I am frankly I don't understand what they're asking and how it's worked like this. And I've tried working with Christy on this a couple of times. And she's been responsive, but she's drinking from it. She stares at these books every day. And so explaining it to me it didn't connect effectively.
No.
I will be not doing any shuffling from the remaining 3 quarters. And I will be asking finance if there is any leftover at the end to be returning that money to the general fund afterwards. I think that,
We can vote up on it.
well, I think this is one that is also like on the admin side. So like we'll have a unified front on that particular one. But when I get an email requesting if this is something that can come before the CRC, I'm just gonna reply, no, we have put a hold on this particular thing till we're caught up, and then we can have this discussion as well. But I'm not super comfortable with the shuffling around here because I don't understand it too well.
Okay. Okay, on some of the, can we go to something? on some of the presentations, some information that's come to me since the presentations. I'm gonna go to, the food pantry to start with. In their presentation, they did not tell us that they applied for a grant from the town of Nantucket under the American, sorry, I'm gonna give you the abbreviation of what it's called.
Oh, American Recovery Act?
American Recovery Act. And they did get $40,000 from the American Recovery Act, which was not presented to us in their presentation by either of the assistant executive director, the executive director, or the president of the Interfaith Council. It has been awarded to them. They have not received any money. They have signed a contract. But I think it's important that we know that those funds are out there. Because in presenting to us in everything, it should have been presented to us that they also had that, it's not in showing in any of the numbers, that they had received a $40,000 grant for the warming shelter. It is not money usable for salaries. It can only be used for,
Operations.
it is, but it's not salaries. And I think that's important because these are the kind of things disclosing that we should have from organizations when they come in to talk with us. So that was one of my concerns that came out, and I heard about that without, just in a conversation, I was like, oh, I haven't heard about that. And on another thing, on a good note, I&M did a wonderful article on PastCon, and it was interesting how many people came to me and said, hey, do you know they're doing something for the Spanish now in cancer? Which was wonderful to see that they got such a positive, like, people are, when you don't hear about something, you hear a little bit about it, but something like that, how it's impacting, and people are like, wow, I didn't know PastCon did that. So I thought that that was, a nice thing to hear. The other thing that I wanted to touch upon was Artists Association. I went with Linda years ago when we first started this, funding the Artists Association under Healing with the Arts. And at the time, they did have people that were trained under, which is a trademark, Healing with the Arts. They do not have anybody trained under Healing with the Arts, doing the program at the Artists Association. As much as I believe in the art program, and I always have, and I've always endorsed it, I don't like the fact that for some of us, for me, I still thought they had instructors that had qualifications in Healing with the Arts. And this is one of the things that I would like to bring up when we come, in discussion with the Artists Association, is that maybe maybe some of the money that they're asking goes to training them with getting the training they need for the artist healing in the arts. So that their staff is actually, instead of increasing the numbers, it's very important. And I know that they're artists, and I know that, artists are unbelievable. And I believe in this 100%. I also know that there's a reason it's called Healing with the Arts. And it's because you're trained to identify different sources and different problems and how to move those to the right direction. And that's what part of Healing with the Arts program is. So when we have a more discussion on that, I would like to talk about, how we've discussed other times, funding different things. I know that Jericho had suggested the QVR, or I think I said it. But I think that it would be better for us to have them, if they're gonna use that name, that they actually have some training there, and maybe that we could provide the educational source or, as part of that. And yes.
Can we, as the CRC, ask them to, rather than what they've asked for in the grant, to say, we want you to take X amount to use toward training?
Yes, we can.
We can?
Yes, we can.
No, you can't. You can only do what they have applied for.
Excuse me, Linda. We did it when we had a managerial audit done, because the recommendation of all of us, it wasn't what Fair Winds asked us for money for, but the recommendation was that the managerial audit, the program would be better. So we offered them a certain amount of money towards a managerial audit, which was not in the thing that, and we went to town council on it. We were told that was okay. We can make recommendations to them. They're presenting a program that they actually don't have anybody licensed to do. We can offer to give them the training through arts and healing, say, we, you know, like, we're gonna give you, you know, $1,200 towards training on healing with the arts, and we're gonna give you 13,000 for the rest of your program. We can make those recommendations as a board. We are allowed to do that. Because they are also presenting us something that they don't actually have training in, and they've admitted to not having training in it.
So one quick question. Do you remember, did they specifically use the phrase healing with the arts or healing through the arts?
Healing through the arts.
So one of those, healing with the arts is a certified programming. Healing through the arts is not. One of them has a specific TM'd certification, the other one does not. And I'm wondering if they presented it as the one with certification before and then just sort of quietly changed it to.
Well, they
through.
did tell us that everybody was certified in it. When we went out, they told us that their teachers were certified in it.
And that would be that specific, I mean, so, we would have to, it seems like we would have to identify the specific training criteria we want them to use, because there's like, if you say you have to get healing with arts certified or healing through arts certified, there's like 5 or 6 options. So it would be a good idea for us to be like, this is the program and this is what we would like you to have. We'd like to have X number of people trained by Y time.
I think Bert, I see your hand up.
Yeah, going along with my question to them the other day, we're trying to train them to get off of us and stand on their own 2 feet. And if they get licensed therapists, and they should investigate what insurance companies pay for, get that sort of therapist so that their program qualifies to get funding from the insurance companies.
I bet you if they have trained into a certain program, they might be able to do that. Not like a clinician, because that's not what we're looking at, but maybe one of their artists is trained, they might be able to. You're right. And that could benefit them in the long run. If it's a referral from a psych department and insurance covers it, they might be able to, if somebody's
We'd be
certified.
asking AAN to do health insurance reimbursement processing?
No, but they told us before that they did it. They got health insurance referrals in the first year. And so what we're saying is maybe you're not getting it anymore because you don't have that. Maybe with that, you would be able to, because they said, oh yeah, we're gonna look more into that because doctors referred patients here and clinicians referred patients. So, I mean, it's well worth them looking into. All of this is for everybody.
Well, I worry if we ask organizations that don't have mental health as their core mission to do a lot of the stuff that we're asking for healthcare companies or service provision companies, that they may not be, like, that might be more trouble than, like,
Well, we're not asking them to apply.
Oh,
for
yeah,
jobs.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
asking
yeah.
them just to get a little bit of training. Right. It's just a suggestion from Bert that they could possibly bring in revenue that way. I think that's what it was. It wasn't that we were telling them
Okay.
to go for training. We're just saying to get trained to be.
Okay, so I think we've got 2 issues. There's a healing through the arts and there's a healing with the arts.
Well, there's like 8 different variations of these, and they're like a couple of them. There's one here that has a specific art course. Like, I think if we're going to ask them to fulfill a particular training thing, we should figure out what training thing we would like for that to do.
Or if they want to get
choose-
retrained in what they were originally trained in.
Additionally, I can reach out to them and potentially use some rural health equity funding so that they don't have to take that on the nose for the program cost. So that's something that we could be doing, that this is similar to an approved use for that state fund that we did for QPR training. This would fall under the same rubric if they identify a couple of people to take courses, and then we can have them, we can pay them outside of the source of the thing of the grant if necessary.
Okay. So my biggest point was it clearly was not the program. It first came in to show us that it was. And I would like to see it back to the program that it originally was, that had people trained to identify in the, in the Healing Arts program.
Okay.
Okay. Does that,
Yes, that satisfies, yeah.
okay. Was there anything else besides we did the rubrics that came out to anybody when they? I did ask this question, I will be honest with you, I did have a question in the fact that we were paying two executive directors, they're requesting two executive directors. And I did question, whether or not.
You're talking now about,
Interfaith Council, whether or not when you're one of the members is a Board of Selectmen member that would be getting money, whether or not that's a conflict of interest. He doesn't vote at the select board meeting. He would probably have to recluse himself on the report, correct?
He could
cannot
not
vote on the report.
participate in any of the he can't participate in any deliberations regarding it, and he cannot participate in any voting associated.
He can't, the only thing that they vote upon is accepting our report
But
and our recommendations.
he would also have to abstain himself on any, like, the same thing when Jason had to abstain from our discussion around the youth behavioral health grant at the select board, because so anything that has to do with additional funding for either for the human services grant process or for deliberations on our recommendations, he would have to recuse himself, well, to my knowledge, and I'm pretty sure that precedent's already set, he's informed of it. Like
He knows that, I mean,
Yeah,
he
he
knows
has
that
to.
because he didn't vote on that, but there was just I'm having difficulty with, the funding of two salaries that high, within one organization, when we were told, 2 years ago that basically this was gonna be a 1-year transition over. It's a lot of money. And I question whether some of that, our funding could go to, let's say, direct service hours, like the food pantry is direct service. Fuel assistance is direct service.
Not really, not really. I used to help with that. There's an awful lot of paperwork, an awful lot of stuff that goes into that. You can't even get fuel assistance without this whole raft of an application process. You know that.
I did them for years for the Townland. I know that. That's a direct service. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's a direct service when you're working one-on-one with somebody. It was just.
You have to pay the staff to do that.
I know that. That's a one-on-one because you're doing it for one person. You're writing, one person is taking care of one person when writing the paperwork. That's one-on-one service. But we're not, out of everything, fuel assistance is the least amount in there. In the food pantries. And like I said, I had other questions as to, on the food pantry too, guys, when I was looking at their, tallying the Interfaith Council's, budget. And when I mentioned in our last meeting that there were some questions, if they have, the warming place has a $3,700 moving expenses. I'm assuming that's to move all the equipment back and forth from the locations. That's what I'm assuming it is. And then down below, there was a lot on the Interfaith Council that we didn't get the full readout on, but their office supplies, I mean, mailing and postage, why is theirs almost higher than it would be for rents and?
Which one is this for which subunit is the one that has a high postage?
The warming place.
Warming place?
Would that be for fundraising?
Probably, I mean, it
But
could be.
wouldn't that show under fundraising, not postage?
It depends. I mean, if they were,
I'm just
because they
asking,
gotta
I'm putting this out to the group. Because then there's an additional 1,000, where was the other one?
That would be a question probably to run by Brian, how they should categorize that stuff, so that he's happy.
Well, the office supplies is like $3,500 in office supplies too. There's a lot of money in office supplies
what is
and in postage coming in under the warming center. And I think it's a phenomenal program, so don't get me wrong, I just think that it some of it doesn't make sense as to why those expenses is one of the higher expenses within their budget, and projected budget. And then, just so everybody knew, on the last one, and why the questions I brought up and had concerns over was when I looked at, the executive director's salary, and then I took the taxes, which they actually, did for us at 130, and they divided it in half. It actually doesn't make out to the numbers that they showed. At 4750 and 4750 would be 95, not 130.77. So, and it continues like that with each one of these. Every single one of the tax brackets numbers are off. And so, and I'm under the understanding that they, right now they have here that they have a grocery assistant and driver, and then another 60 hours, but right now, I don't think they have all that staff. Maybe that's hope for staff, but for fiscal year right now, they do not have that staff. They only have one person. And then when they presented to us, if this is fiscal year 25, and they said to us that Janice's job would slowly be diminishing and she'd be running some programs, where is she fitting in under this executive director? Because it would be, you have two people at pretty much almost, only $13,000 apart coming in on their salaries as director and assistant director. So what is that going to be? If that is what it is, I would like a better one for fiscal year 25 as to what they're actually looking at as in payroll expenses. That gives us a better idea of what we have to look at going forward. And
So Dorothy, quick question.
Mhm.
I'm gonna consider, so this is their estimated budget for fiscal year 25. So what I'm gonna ask for at the end of the current fiscal year is that sheet with their actuals in it.
Right.
And then we can compare that sheet with the actuals to their yield, and then, so that like, what I'm. Is when we're asking for additional financial information, people can swamp me with all of the information, and we need to have a very
I
specific.
would like
thing
to
that we
know what
ask
last
for.
year's payroll was.
Okay,
I'd like to know what fiscal year 2024's payroll is and what it was at.
so I'm
And I'd
gonna,
like a better breakdown on what the expenses are, and I'd like to know why they didn't tell us that they applied for this grant. I mean,
so full
and it's
disclosure,
not, and full disclosure, it's not showing anywhere in here that they got this grant, which they, by full disclosure, have to let us know even when they're.
well, I don't think, I mean, so they should let us know. I don't think that we specifically.
It's required in the grant application.
But I don't think we
to let us
have,
know.
I don't think that they're legally required to exhaustively explain every grant that they currently have underway. But I was working on that grant and grant agreement on the other side of things. And we went from being, we should be able to figure out how to do this to a grant agreement relatively quickly and relatively late into the process. So I think we had an understanding, finance and I had worked out what the grant template was going to be by around, it would have been it would have been late November, early
But
December.
they presented in front of us.
And that's when they should have told us that they were gonna get
They
it.
should have
Right.
in the discussion in front of us here, they should have told us that they were getting that money. We did not know that.
Yeah, so,
And so I think it's important that all full disclosure on everybody when they're getting funding and
but,
especially coming from a source where they're taking the grant from the town too underneath it.
so
I think it's important that
the,
you know
the
that.
ARPA money was not, was town monies released, or so was monies released by the federal government to the
Correct.
town, specifically use limited to homelessness operation.
Right.
There is no other organization on the island that could receive those grants.
But still.
They
it
should
is-
definitely
They
have
should have let us
communicated.
know that because also in it, they're asking for, and I don't know if everybody saw this, but there is a line in here. Which I did not approve of and would not in any contract that we have.
Request the authority to use
anybody.
these funds when and where needed.
Correct.
Yeah, that can't be.
Right, but in here, in their grant requests, they are requesting that and, they requesting the authority to use these funds where and when needed.
Which
it has to be specific needs that are done It is not that they can move this money around in
Yeah.
any way, shape or form.
Well, that would never have gotten through the grant, the actual grant
I
agreement.
know, but just saying that
Right.
it's in there and, I have not seen that before in anybody else's. Veronica?
Dorothy, I think the most positive thing that came out of the presentation was that they are planning a financial audit. It's great. It's, it's needed. So that's a wonderful thing, but we still have to deal with the application in front of us and making a decision. And the numbers are just out of whack.
And then even post audit, Janice is going to be a program director at, like,
We don't know.
isn't that, she said that she was still planning on being.
She said she was planning on running some programs. That's why I sort of would like to know where does it, I mean, I think they could give us a better definition on it. Is there any other, program that anybody had questions on or, just before we go talking to each one, was there anything that anybody had questions that could bring up, that would bring further questions? No?
If you have any, just let me, okay. I'll finish off. what I'm doing.
I felt that our presentation from Health Imperatives on their first one was very businesslike for the first time. The second one was much better. The first one I felt was very business. And I love that program, but I felt that wasn't getting a lot of the answers I would have liked to, more definite answers. Do you have any questions on any of them?
Nope. We got
no.
6 minutes to 6 o'clock.
Yeah, Linda, did you have any questions on any of the ones that presented to us?
No, I thought presentations this year are really, really tight and well done.
Okay. Sue, did you have any questions on any of them?
I voiced all my questions already.
Okay. Bert?
I've asked my questions.
Okay, John?
I've got nothing to add to what everybody else has said.
Veronica?
Okay, just that when I went back and looked at NAMI and Fairwinds, and I don't remember, and I don't see in my notes, Dragonfly had been split between both of those organizations,
Fairwinds
and now
has it now.
Fairwind. And how is that reflected? Did they tell us how it's reflected in their budget?
No, and that's what I've asked, why I want a better budgeting
Okay.
from Fairwind.
It was 75, it was the Jackie, what did she say? She was out 75K as a result of that, and that would have been her half of it. So the total.
Well, that was her half from the year
Yeah,
before.
so
They made
whatever.
200,000 this year at the Dragonfly. So we don't know what they're doing with the funding of the Dragonfly. It would be good to find out, but that's what more of their budget idea. Because they are asking for a huge amount of money.
Okay, because I don't remember, and I had a note, and I don't see that I wrote anything down, so if we can, that will come with more numbers we've asked for them.
Yeah.
Or,
So I'm gonna specifically request a profits and loss and a accounts receivable from both Interfaith and from Fairwinds.
Please.
And I will present that information to you as soon as possible. It's gonna be I'm gonna ask them for the fiscal year fiscal year 24 actuals. Sorry, accounts receivable and profit and loss.
And then 24's projected salaries for interfaith,
Oh, yeah, projected salaries for,
2024. More salaries for 2024,
their actuals from 2024.
please. Okay, so we only have 6 minutes, or 3 minutes
minutes.
left. And Tamika, going over everything, Tamika is sending out, if you have not received it, you will definitely have it by tomorrow morning. Please check your emails. Please get the scripts into Tamika. We will be meeting everybody. You have school vacation week. I hope everybody enjoys it and does something fun with their time.
when?
What?
Oh, no, from here. Okay, I thought, sorry.
Oh, oh, what are we talking about? School vacation week. Oh, sorry. I'm going back. What
No,
were
I
we
thought I-
talking? That's what I looked at that calendar.
Jericho,
Wait,
Yes.
guys, hold on a minute. Can
are
we
you
look at the
available
calendar?
tomorrow morning?
Yeah, you give me a
Yeah,
ring.
School vacation isn't for another.
Yeah, why didn't you say something
Well, I
to
thought
me?
that made
But
felt like you were going
guys,
somewhere else. No, so this is February and now it's turned black on me here.
so I don't have
Oh, we're at-
anything
It's at 6, that's fine.
until
This is this
2,
week.
so you give me a ring,
Yeah, this is this week.
give me a ring
No,
whenever.
that's
I'm at my
February.
desk all day and I'll
Right.
run you through what each of the bullet points are and what they kind of mean.
We're fine.
Okay, that was my question. I was able to, while we were in this
Yeah.
meeting, I was able to print them both out, the instructions and the rubric chart. So,
Yeah, and we'll like review it, we'll review through it real quick. It should really honestly only take you 10-12 minutes. That's all, like, it really is. You already know what everything is. You just need to figure out what the number is.
yeah, okay, thanks, Jericho.
Not a problem.
John,
Oh.
Bert to call me with his.
Yes.
John, I'll be down in Georgia on May
And then
1st.
I'll
Okay,
collect
too
it.
many
Columbus,
conversations going on.
With where?
Can we have one conversation? It's
Columbus,
really
Georgia.
annoying.
On May
Oh.
1st.
I just said the same.
Well,
Anywhere
thing.
near you?
I'm on St. Simon's Island.
Okay,
You're over in the rich country.
I'm down on the I'm down on the coast.
Gentlemen,
I'm gonna-
gentlemen,
I'm
hold
gonna
on.
make a motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
Second,
Okay, Veronica,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Linda,
aye.
Dorothy, I. Jericho, we.
Sue, aye, aye.
Oh, Sue, I. Sorry, Sue.
All right, guys.
It's these stupid
Jericho.
glasses. I switch it. You're so tiny on that screen for some reason.
Go ahead,
But now
John.
you're not.
Jericho,
Yes.
just for the record, I will not have access to a printer from tomorrow on.
Yeah, I can do.
So what I'm gonna do, you should be, I think we have all your
Turn off the
numbers in.
recording. We.
Oh, yeah, sorry,
Yes.
1 second.
All right, I'm out of here. I can't listen to this.
Bye.
All right.